He's going to get off.
Here he comes. Here he comes. He's got him this time.
It's going to be a drag race. Wow. They touch. They touch.
Craven got him. Craven got him.
Craven got him. And
Craven. All right.
Welcome back to History Rewritten, where our goal is to drive the number 97 and beat the 32 of Ricky Craven here from Darlington in 2003 and attempt to win the race across 56 laps of racing as Kyle Petty would lead the field to the green flag. Hello everybody, welcome back to a brand new episode here on the channel of History Rewritten. It's been a few weeks, but we're back on NR 2003, which surprisingly puts on some of the best Darlington racing you're going to find, as like I said, our two goals today. Goal number 1, beat the 32 of Ricky Craven. Goal number 2, win the race if possible. Here as we're immediately up the inside of Michael Waltrip into turn number 3. So down in P19 to start this race. Not a great starting position, but we've got a lot of time, 56 laps, and this race will require a pit stop, be that under green or under caution. This finish in 2003 that you saw in the intro of the video was the closest NASCAR finish for just over 20 years until Kyle Larson was able to break that record and beat Chris Buescher by 1/1000th of a second at Kansas in 2024, and that epic finish at the mile-and-a-half racetrack now. So here we are trying to rewrite history and put Kurt Busch in victory lane by getting that 2/1000ths of a second over Ricky Craven or whoever it needs to be to get the victory, as we were up to P18, now working our way forward, and Ricky Rudd out early in front of this race. Actually, he would get the lead from Kyle Petty and take control of this race as we are just focusing in on moving forward. And early in this race, I had noticed the car was pretty tight, so I was really interested to see mainly just, what direction this car is going to go as the run goes on. And I was pushing it a bit on the turn 3 entry more than other drivers around me, so I was curious to see how that was going to affect the rest of our race a little bit later in the run. As you can see me passing the 17 of Matt Kenseth into turn 3, this would put us into the 15th position, coming to 49 laps to go in this race. We cut to lap 10 already, and we maintain P15 and are working on running down the number 18 Interstate Batteries driver of Bobby Labonte to put us up into that 14th spot. So spent the next handful of laps really focusing on managing that gap and trying to close in, but really just trying to keep all 4 tires in good shape. Darlington is such a difficult track on tire management. If you abuse the tires, you will be punished. It's one of those rare tracks nowadays that is punishing on tires, so you definitely have to manage it as a race goes on. And as we come through to lap 15 at this point now, and we got Matt Kenseth behind us still in 16th. We continue in P15, the gap just under a second between myself and the 18, but you see all the cars right in front of him. We got Tony Stewart right there as well, so we know we are going to find ourselves in a solid position here if we can get past that group of cars. But I'm really focused at this point, with 41 laps to go, on the last half of this race. That was kind of what I was setting myself up for here, really trying to learn what I needed for the last half and what I just need to do in terms of strategy for the last half of this race, because I feel like that's where the difference is going to be. And if we see green flag pit stops, my idea was I'm going to stay out a couple extra laps than everybody else because we don't have the track position after having a bit of a poor qualifying effort. So we want to stay out a few extra laps to have a tire advantage over everybody else, which means we would give up some track position when we make that pit stop. We're on lap 20 and we finally run down Labonte, who was having a bit of a battle, but as you can see, starting to get loose. So I started tight, but the car now transitioning into the loose side of things, and on the exit of turn 2, really having to throttle control myself here just to make sure we don't lose the rear end too much on the exit of the corner, but just focusing in on trying to pass this 18. But like I said, keep the tires under this car and don't burn them up too much. You see a lot of track position right there in front of us, so we're not far off of even really a top 5, top 6 running position. And if you look at the top left, of course, you see the best lap for myself was the 30.6 as we find ourselves in a battle now with the 18 Labonte using the outside even. But look at the last lap. So the tire fall off is 2 seconds, at least 2 seconds now. So yeah, a really large amount of tire fall off here in Darlington. Now as look at the run on the exit of turn 2 against the 18. We'll breeze down this back straightaway and take the position. So up into P14 as we continue to go forward, but we're probably not too far away from green flag pit stops in this race. Really, the pit window is pretty well open now. You could pit now and make it to the end of this race, so it is an option if you want to come right now, but we're gonna, like I said, push it a bit longer and wait for these guys to pit, and then we'll come in about a lap or two later. And you can see we continue to run down the cars in front, and felt like I did a pretty solid job maintaining my tires early in this run. But as these laps go on, I actually was able to pass Ward Burton there. He was dropping like a rock, so up into 13th, now to the inside of Michael Waltrip for the 12th position, and now on lap 28, hitting the halfway point of this race basically here. So Ricky Rudd was still out in front, but now we've gotten up to 12th halfway through this race as we slide on the exit of 2. But look at the gap now to the cars in front. But you see in the top left at this point 12 projected laps of fuel remaining in this car with 27 laps to go. So we're not going to be pitting maybe for a little bit yet, but you can see the tire wear. So we've really burned up that right rear, not surprising. Conserved the left rear, the right front and the left front both fairly similar wear, but to my surprise, as we come through to just a few laps later, lap 32, we're actually gearing up for some green flag pit stops. So this would kind of throw me off a little bit here, because I was thinking we're going to run probably another 10 laps or so. That's not going to be the case. Really only going to run about 4 extra laps after we last checked our fuel until other drivers are going to start the pit. But look, we are reeling these guys in, but here they come with 24 laps to go, approaching 23 to go. Stewart's in and others. Many drivers stay out, but you see the 10, you see the 2 of Rusty Wallace. He was running up in the top 3. He comes into the pits, and their tire fall off's been about 3 to nearly 4 seconds at this point. But everybody's going to come in, and I thought about it for a second but wanted to run one more lap. So we're going to give up a lot of time, but we're going to have a significant advantage once we come out of the pit. So we take the lead of this race. Ricky Rudd, the leader, has come in. We're going to pit right here at the end of lap 35 as we head down into turn 3. Now it's all about getting this thing slowed down. Darlington is one of the trickiest, it is the trickiest pit lane in the NASCAR series to get into. As you can see, a bit of a slow entrance. It was really hard to actually get the car turned down. The track is actually get hit the door on the pit exit by the 0-2 that was, but nonetheless, that fortunately for us doesn't do any damage, and we get into our pit box. I was quite conservative coming into the pits, and down the entire pit lane I was pretty conservative as well. So we're nonetheless going to get the 4 tires on the car, and we didn't make any adjustments because although we started out tight, we know this car frees up, and this time we are running only 21 laps instead of over 30. So I'm pretty confident where this car's balance is going to be by the time we come to the end of this race. So the strategy here, we give up track position, but the reward will be gaining all of that back and then some, and hopefully maybe getting even a bit of fortune on our side, because I think we're going to need a caution. And speaking of cautions, the 24 Jeff Gordon slow on the exit of turn 4, and Gordon is limping down the front straightaway, and I think he's going to come to a stop. Yes, he is. The DuPont Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports. Gordon stomps on track. That's going to bring out the caution, and that changes everything in favor of us, because now we don't need to use our tire difference to run down those cars in front of us, because now we haven't even put half a lap of full speed on these tires, and we are caught up to the pack with a caution, and now we can put our new tires to full advantage and be caught up already. Rusty Wallace leads, a few lap cars in between himself and the 10, the 20, the 6. They're all in front of Ricky Rudd as they pitted before Ricky Rudd and took advantage of that extra lap now, so he's gonna have to work his way forward. Of course, those lap cars in between them would eventually move to the inside, so we'll get ready to go racing. So Rusty Wallace will lead the field back to the green, but it's only going to be by the time we go green 15 laps to go. We're down in 20th place after staying out extra long. We lost 8 positions as Rusty Wallace leads the field back to green. 15 laps to go in this race here from Darlington, and can Wallace hang on as we roll through 1 and 2 down towards this back straightaway? You see some of these lead lap cars struggling, the cars on the inside making some big moves, and we're hopefully going to be able to take advantage of everyone being kind of all over each other right here, and hopefully we can move forward. And I actually am going to go to the outside of the number 1 of Steve Park, but actually we're going to get passed by the 15 of Waltrip out of turn 4, even hitting the outside wall, just trying to kind of force my nose into the space that was pretty limited right there now as we dive down into turn 1. But we need to be taking advantage of these fresh tires, and we're doing the exact opposite of that right now. 14 laps to go. Here comes the 9 of Elliott as well as we exit turn 2 down this backstretch right on the back of the 0. Don't remember who that was at this point in time. I almost wanted to say Jerry Nadeau, probably way wrong on that one as we continue through 3, and you can see losing the track position that we thought we were going to be gaining instead. So as we finally get clear, we'll jump back down to the inside, and we are now 22nd with 13 laps to go. We know that we still have a significant tire advantage, but we know we're failing both objectives right now. Objective 1 was beat the 32 of Ricky Craven. There he is right there. So this is going to be our opportunity to get objective 1 complete as we look to the inside of Waltrip now, and now we're starting to make some headway. Up to 19th, now 18th. So now the tire advantage is coming into play. We really played our cards wrong on that restart, put myself in the wrong position and fell back. But now we're up to P18, but we've only got 11, coming to 10 laps to go in this race. It's going to take a miracle to win this thing, but never say never. We've got that tire advantage to fall back on, and there's some lap traffic up there that's going to make things difficult for some drivers that we might be able to take advantage of in these closing laps. 10 laps to go, a run on the back of the Tide machine of Ricky Craven down this back straightaway. We got to get aggressive. We'll send it into turn 3 side by side, and we clear Craven. Objective 1 complete. Beat the 32. We take P17, and now look at this mess in front of us. Everyone's slowing up on the exit of turn 2. I had no choice but jumping to the outside of the number 1 of Steve Park, and now the question is, can we make it work? I don't know, because here comes Craven back to my left side now as we come through 3. At a turn 4, they're checking up. We need to get clear into the inside. It's not easy to make passes on the outside when there's other cars in front of you, but we clear the 1 as the 18 of Labonte gets cleared by his brother of Terry. We dive down into turn 3. We take the position from Bobby. Now we're really starting to move forward as we approach 7 laps to go. We're up into P15, looking to the inside of the 0-1, putting us P14. Can we go past Terry Labonte for 13th as we continue to make up track position, but quickly running out of time, but putting our tire advantage now to full force, now to the inside with the Kellogg's number 5 Hendrick machine with 6 to go into turn 3, 13th position. Thank you very much. Now as we continue to find time, look at all the cars in front of us. However, now as we exit turn 4 to the inside of the number 7, this will put us into P12 as we dive down into turn 1. While that was happening, we actually had a change for the lead. Look at this. Ricky Rudd had run down the 2 of Rusty Wallace and had breezed past him on the inside, and Wallace is even going to lose out to some lap traffic. So Rudd back out in front, running away as we're up into 13th and now 12th, sorry, as we continue to the inside of the 45 of Kyle Petty, the 88, and the 8 Dale Earnhardt Jr. This puts us into the top 10 as we come to 5, now 4 laps to go. A big run on the exit of 4, and look at the difference in tires suddenly passing Harvick, the 27, the 20, Tony Stewart right there. This is going to put us into P6. I knew we could take advantage, but I didn't think we would be able to take this much advantage in these closing laps. Just 3 to go, and we're up to 7th behind the Viagra Ford of Mark Martin. But you see the traffic in front of us now. We'll jump to the outside and see what we can do to the outside of Jeff Burton, Ryan Newman, and these are all 4 position. This is going to put us to 3rd if we can pass the 10 as well as we exit turn 4. We were clear to the inside, and just like that, unbelievable, 2 to go, and we're up to 4th, make that 3rd. Rusty Wallace is right there for 2nd. Ricky Rudd out in the lead. You can see him just down the track now, exiting turn 2 as we'll get to the back of the 190. Don't know, I think that must be a fantasy car, of course. Now as we head down this back straightaway, a lap and a half to go for 2nd on the number 2. We sail it into turn 3. It was aggressive, but we get up to P2. What a turn of events here. That caution is the difference maker today. And now we're going to start the final lap in second, and we are closing quickly, but I don't think there's enough time. We've got to gain 8.5 tenths of a second on Ricky Rudd. Can we get there rolling through 1 and 2, and we still as well have to pass the lap car? That might be Dave Blaney as we exit turn 2. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong on that one again. Down this back straightaway, and we closed, nearly cut the gap in half. No choice but to send it into turn 3, but we sent it too much. We gave it everything we had. It wasn't quite enough, but what a just journey. What a drive through the field. Ricky Rudd hangs on to win. We come home in second position here in Darlington. We beat the 32 of Craven easily, but we come up short of the win. But we were certainly a force to be reckoned with and drove up to P2. What a finish here from 2003 Darlington. That does it for me. Appreciate you guys watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day.